Hello, people. Welcome again to another episode of a semi-Leon Tardy. I don't know, I'm getting tongue-tied today for some reason. I'm so excited about the guest that I'm bringing to you guys today. That's probably what it is. I'm your host, the Jim. I like to call myself that. Remember, the glasses are strictly aesthetic. Today I have my first domestic violence survivor, Carla Hudson. For months now, I've been wanting to do a story in this particular category, and I've been blessed enough to finally land a guest brave enough to come forward. I think that if all of us are honest with ourselves, we can say that we witnessed some form of domestic violence, or at least heard about it. I know that I can. Data suggests that 1 in every 4 women, and surprisingly 1 in 9 men, have experienced some form of violence, assault, or stalking being committed by an intimate partner. Some data suggests that that number could even be higher, over 35%. That's more than 1 out of every 3. Domestic violence involves a pattern of controlling behavior that one partner uses to gain power over the other partner. These actions include physical violence, mental abuse, emotional abuse, and even intimate abuse. I want to take the time out to urge anyone who finds themselves in one of the aforementioned situations to please seek help. My guest today, Carla Hudson, has decided to open up about her violent experience in a past relationship, and I hope that you out there watching can appreciate her courage, her resilience, as well as her story. Welcome to the platform, Carla.
Thank you.
So, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you are, after all that laughing we did earlier. But this is a serious matter that I want to talk about. I'm just so excited about this. I've been looking so forward to this interview. You can't imagine how thrilled I am that you're here. Okay, just tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Give them a little bit of background.
Well, my name is Carla Hudson. Previously, it was Carla Bradner. I'm from Milledgeville, but I have not lived down here since I graduated high school, which was in 2003. So I've been gone since 2003.
Okay.
And I'm a nurse. And that's about all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you like nursing? How's that for you?
Oh, I love being a nurse. I've been a nurse about 7 years now. Yeah. About 7 years now. And I have a small business called Commitment to You. And it's all about self-love. We'll get into that later, though.
And if my cameraman could go to the double shot, this is her website, Commitment to You.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can check out our website. I don't know, do you sell anything? Or?
Yeah, I sell bracelets, affirmation cards, journals.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get me a website. I'll probably get with you about that later on, you know. Mm-hmm. But, okay, this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where do you want to start with that? Because, like I said, I'm not going to try to probe or provoke you. I just want you to kind of get into it.
Okay. That was
well. I tell you what. So, I'll ask you this.
Okay.
Because y'all know how I do my thing. I don't necessarily have anything scripted. Nothing has been rehearsed here. We just kind of cut the cameras on and basically kind of see what happens. Okay. That's how I like to do things. It's raw, uncut, and it's just genuine. Can't get any more genuine than this. So let's do it like this. This relationship. Mm-hmm. How many years ago has it been?
6 this year.
Since you left the relationship?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I left in May of 2018.
Okay. And how long were you in that relationship?
13 years.
13 years. Were you married?
Uh-huh.
And you guys were married the whole 13 years? Or?
We were together for 6, married for 7.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Yeah, married for 7. Yeah.
Okay, so it was a total of 13. So
kids? No kids.
You have no kids at all?
No kids at all.
Okay. So, how did you guys meet?
We actually met at a Flash Foods one night after the club.
So both of y'all guys attended the same club,
Mhm.
and you danced together.
No, no, we didn't dance together. It's so funny because I saw him like knock all the stuff off the table because somebody had made him mad, and then we ended up at the Flash Foods, and I was scared not to give him my number because I'm like, he might be a fool for real. But he was so nice, took my number, and then a couple of days later, probably like a week or two later, we ended up going out on a date.
Okay. And what was that date like?
It was nice. He actually was very, very charming. He was very sweet, very nice, very giving.
Unselfish. Very unselfish.
Yes, very unselfish. He drew me in. He love bombed me.
Okay.
So that's what I know now. Like love bomb. Like if you meet somebody and they just like super like loving and giving, you gotta be careful because I feel like he love bombed me. And I was young. I was like 22 when I met him. I was 22 and he was 11 years older than me.
Oh, okay. So he was 33.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 33 years old. You're 22.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you guys started dating.
Mm-hmm.
And at what point did you guys decide you were gonna make it, a commitment to each other?
I think we had been dating probably like a year and a half, or probably like right at a year, because I did stay in Milledgeville for a little while because I was working at the prison, and I transferred my job to Macon to be closer to him because he was from Macon.
Okay.
So once I moved to Macon, probably like 6 months after that, we actually made it official. Like we were together like a couple.
So what kind of work did he do?
He was a warehouse worker. And at the time, I was a correction officer. I wasn't a nurse.
And did he have any kids?
Yeah, he has a son.
Just one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So you guys were dating 6 months. You decided to become an item.
Yeah, probably 8 months in. Yeah.
8 months. You decided to become an item. And then at that point, what happened?
Well, before that, let me back up. So this is a sign that I want women to like really, really, especially younger women, to understand when you're talking about somebody love bombing you. One of the signs that I saw that it should have been a red flag to me was he lived in Macon, I lived in Milledgeville. If I didn't answer the phone, he would show up at my house.
Okay.
And this is 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, he just loved me so much. He just loved me so much. That's a red flag for anybody out there. That's not love, that's control.
But and you were reading that as attention, loving, and he just
was so into me because I was so young and naive. I was like, oh, he really cared about me. He's showing up at my house because I don't answer the phone. So that provoked me to even more feel like, okay, this is the person for me. So like I said, I moved to Macon. I was staying up to like 6 or 7 months, and then we decided to move in together. Okay. So I moved in with him.
Okay. And how did that go initially?
For the first couple, it was horrible for the first couple months, but he wouldn't let me leave. He was just like, he was gonna change, he was gonna work on himself. And again, me being young and naive.
When you say he didn't want to let you leave, give us an example of what that entailed.
He would just be like, he wanted his family, he wanted a family, he wanted us to grow. He knew he had issues and he was gonna work on them.
So at that point, what issues did you witness? I mean, what kind of
control and like anger.
So you were not allowed to go to work?
Yeah, I went to work, but it was like, if I go to work, as soon as I get in the car, I need to call you, and it was like a time limit. I need to call you when I got in the car. I need to call you when I got to the house.
Okay.
And then it was like, you would follow me sometimes.
To your job?
To school. I was taking core classes because at the time I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was in school, and he would follow me to school sometimes to make sure I was going to school.
Mm-hmm. Man. Mm-hmm. And so at this point, had you witnessed any violence? I mean,
no.
You hadn't experienced any violence? So
I hadn't experienced.
How far are we in now? Year, 8 months, 9 months?
We are living with him though.
Yeah.
Just say this, living with him. We probably like 6 months in.
6 months in.
And then one day he just flipped the script. He cussed me out, told me to get out of his house.
What was this over though?
Honestly, I don't even remember what this was over. I just remember that I was freaked out because I had sold all my furniture. I had sold everything I had and I moved in with him. So I was freaked out. And so when he told me that, you know, I was like, I got to figure out a plan. Because he was like, you need to pack your stuff and get out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember meeting this guy. He was an older guy. And so I gave him my number because I felt like that was going to be the ticket for me to have everything I needed because you done told me to get out your house.
Mm-hmm.
So he did finally got a number in my phone one day because he went through my phone and he was just like, he ain't going nowhere. And I ain't going to let you leave because you mine. And this was...
How long after he put you out that you got involved with this older dude?
I never got involved with him. I just gave him my number.
Okay, so
yeah.
How long was that? How long was that after? I mean, like after he put you out?
He didn't put me out. He was telling me I had to leave.
Okay.
So I gave somebody else my number.
In case, as a security blanket?
Yes, as a security blanket.
Okay.
And then I had gotten off from work and he went through my phone and he saw the guy's number. And so that triggered him. That was the first time he hit me.
When he found the number?
Mm-hmm.
And he just hit you one time? Is that how that went or?
No, that's the first time.
I'm saying the first time he hit you, it was just one blow?
No. That's the first time he jumped. Let me reiterate. That's the first time he jumped on me.
Okay.
That's the first time he jumped on me.
And
then.
How did you psychologically, in other words, just tell us this. What was going through your mind when that happened?
At the time, I felt like it was my fault because I gave the guy my number. So I felt like it was all my fault. And I don't think I really processed it that time. I didn't really process that one. That was just like...
Because you blame yourself because you gave a dude the number and
Mm-hmm.
you felt like you shouldn't have got involved
Mm-hmm.
with another person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At this point, and prior to the first incident,
Mm-hmm.
had you guys talked about marriage, or was marriage in the air?
For me, no. Honestly, because I came from a broken home, so
Mm-hmm.
marriage was never in the forefront for me. I always thought I'd be like...
Single?
I always thought I'd be not single, but like I didn't think about marriage until I was in my 30s. Like I always thought that I would be 35, 36. That's when I would get married. That's when I was going to be ready to get married. I really wasn't ready to get married. I wasn't even ready to be in a relationship with him. I wasn't. I was nowhere near ready.
But you saying, okay, you say you didn't know, you didn't feel like you were ready to be in a relationship, but you know you're in a relationship when you stand with somebody. You did realize, okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. I knew it, but like looking back.
Okay.
I'm
In
saying,
retrospect,
like,
retrospect, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I should never have been involved with him, and he should never have been involved with me.
Okay.
I feel like it's probably for another day, but a lot of times older guys will get younger women to mold them, because he did tell me that.
Okay. So we're less than a year in.
Mm-hmm.
You had your first experience with physical violence,
Mm-hmm.
and as well as some emotional and verbal.
Just a little bit. That after the first time he hit me, that's when he really his personality really started to show. Cause then it got more verbal.
He got more comfortable. Basically, that's what.
Yes,
happened.
and it got very verbal. He tore my self-esteem down, down.
So, after the first incident,
Mm-hmm.
How long was it before you experienced this violence again? And to the best of your recollection, what brought that one on?
This had to be a good. I'm trying to think, cause I got hit so many times I can't recall like each time. But the next time that I do recall, it was bad, and it was probably about 2 years after that. Yeah, about 2 years after that.
Do you remember what it was about?
Oh yeah, definitely. He thought I was cheating, which I wasn't. He went through my phone and he saw a call that was 1 minute and 32 seconds, and he thought the call was 1 hour and 32 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And he automatically assumed that it was a male.
Uh-huh.
But in truth, who was it? Or
It
what
was,
was it?
I was working at the prison in a perimeter car, and this was at the time where they no smoking. They had came up with the rule that nobody could smoke.
Mm-hmm.
So the girl that was in the front entry was a smoker. So she went to her car to smoke, and the supervisor was caught in between the gates.
Mm-hmm.
So I was calling inside the control room to let them know to pop him back through the other gate and give it a second till I can come around and get her out her car and tell her to go in and let him in. And that was it.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask another question.
Mm-hmm.
Did he have an alcohol problem, a drug problem, or?
When he drank beer, he was sweet, but when he drank liquor, he turned into like, it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So when he drank liquor, that's when I knew it was gonna be something.
He was a monster then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's understandable. That's why I asked that question. This is why I do what I do, because it, like I said, stories unfold as it's unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you didn't notice that anything about him doing drugs. He didn't have a drug problem,
No.
to your knowledge.
Mm-mm.
Okay, all right. Now, all right. After that second incident, which was about a year or two after the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what was the relationship like after the second incident? And how did he handle it after he realized that he made a mistake with the time on your phone?
Well, he actually had locked me in the house to cut the phone cords, and he beat me so bad, like I had to go to the emergency room because I couldn't see out of my right eye. Like, he pulled all my hair out. He drove me around the house. Like, I looked like a Michelin man. So I had to go to the emergency room because when he came back in the house, he just was like, he didn't do this to me. He started crying, and then he started talking about like his past and how it's because of this person that he's angry, it's because of that person, it's because of his dad. Just had all these different, everybody, he basically was saying that he took it out on me because like that was the first time he had really beat me. Like, he beat me.
Any broken bones during this particular?
I didn't have any broken bones, but when I went to the emergency room, they called the police.
Okay, because
and then the police came in, and I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just take your time.
They came in, they talked to me, and they just told me, because I told them it wasn't domestic violence. I told them I fell down the steps, and they just told me like they hope they don't see me back in the body bag. So
they basically had to take your word for it because you refused to take it any further to press charges or to get him in any trouble. You protecting him.
Yeah, because the whole time he was on the phone, because his aunt took me, and he just kept saying, tell her, don't tell them where we live, because I'm going to go to jail. And so...
Did he accompany you at the hospital?
No, he didn't come. She took me
to
the hospital because I couldn't see, so I couldn't drive. And
so, where was he?
He was at home.
Did he refuse, or he just was afraid he would get in trouble?
He was scared he was going to jail.
But he didn't leave his home.
No.
And he probably took for granted that you were going to be too afraid to do anything legally, to pursue anything legal.
Mm-hmm.
Man, did you think that you loved him at that time? Just up to that point, not the whole relationship, but just at that point.
At the time, yes. You know what? I don't know. I was so I did think I loved him up to that point, but once he did that to me, I don't know. Like I don't know. I really should have got some help.
You were in a fog or in a no man's land at that point. You were kind of up in the air about what your feelings were. Mm-hmm. Well, what was, you said your aunt picked you up and took
his aunt.
Oh, his aunt took.
Yeah, his aunt.
Okay, so
he went and got her because that's who he trusted.
Okay.
He went and got her. She took me to the emergency room, and she even told me when she was taking me back home that I needed to leave him because during my whole emergency room visit, I had to have a CT scan and all because they thought I had a concussion.
See, this is I'm even getting a little bit of emotion, but if a person is advising you to leave a person, but she's taking you back home to him, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're back home, and you refuse to do anything legal at this point.
Nope.
Okay, so what was that healing process like?
When I came home, I had a ring.
He had went out and bought a proposal for a proposal?
Yes. He
Okay.
said he had it already, but he needed to just give it to me then because it was a promise ring that he wouldn't ever put his hands on me again.
And you, in your heart, wanted to believe that because it was a sweet gesture. Is that correct, or?
No, I didn't even put it on for a long time, for like 6 or 7 months.
What was keeping you there? I mean, I'm asking you at this point.
At this point, it was fear of him coming after me. He had instilled that fear in me, and then also it was just my spirit was broken. Like, he had pretty much told me I was ugly, wasn't nobody gonna want me. It's just like, it just was so much he had said to me. So I was just like, I felt stuck, like in a box, like stuck, because it was like I was two different people. When I went home, I could be myself, but when I was home, I had to be a mute. I had to be quiet. I had to do what he say do, and I had got so accustomed to that.
I just can't imagine that level of having that type of psychological control over somebody. Man. Okay, so where are we? How far are we down the road now? Year and a half?
So we probably like
2 years?
No, probably like 3-4 years in, because I ended up still marrying him, of course. We got married in 2012.
So how many years after you guys met before the marriage occurred?
Like 5 or 6. Because we got married in 2012. We met in 2005. We met in 2005. We got married in 2012.
Okay, so 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Because I dragged it out for like a year and a half because I did not want to get married. But I didn't know how to end it, and I was scared to leave. I didn't know what to do. So I just felt like if I married him, it'll show him that I love him and that I'm trying, and he would do better.
You still blaming yourself?
Yeah.
So after he gave you the promise ring, was there another incident prior to marriage?
Physical? No, but it just was all mental then. It was just
verbal.
It was just a verbal. I mean,
verbal and emotional.
Yeah,
type
it was bad. And then we fast forward. We planned this huge reception because he told me he didn't want a wedding. So we planned this huge reception. We go to the courthouse on a Friday. Got married at the courthouse. Planned this huge reception, and that night he started bringing the alcohol out because we had bought all this alcohol for the reception for the next day. And in my mind, I was like, "Oh, this is not gonna be good."
That alcohol you looked at as your nemesis.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
And so he almost fell in the yard. And I was like, I gotta get these people out of here. They gotta go. So me and his god brother and his wife were at the table playing cards, and his cousin and his girlfriend was in the living room. Those were the only people left because for some reason they wouldn't leave. And so that night he was like, "Come here, let me talk to you." He was like, "How you know my brother?" He was talking about his god brother, and I did not know his god brother. And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
This is y'all wedding night, right?
Yeah, this is the night we got married.
Okay.
And I was like, "I don't know him." And he punched me in my face. And so I ran out the door.
At the reception?
We at home. We didn't get, this is Friday, the day we this is the day we got married.
Okay.
And he punched me in my face, and I ran outside. He chased me up the road because I was running because I was hoping one of them was going to stop him. Finally, after he done jumped on me in the yard, they all finally kind of got a hold to him, and they got me in the car. And I just kept saying, "I just want to go, get me out of here." And so that's when everybody found out what was going on, because for years I never told anybody what was going on.
So
nobody knew he ever had even put his hands on me.
His aunt didn't relay the information to anybody either?
No.
Man.
So then this is when everybody found out, because the next day was the reception. And I was going to go on with it. I was still going to go on with it because I just felt like I had to because of embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want nobody to know what was going on. But something triggered me because he just looked at me. He was like, don't do this. Don't call it off. And then he looked at my face. He was like, I mean, she can cover your eye. Because I had a black eye.
The
And
same eye, the right one?
I don't know if it was the right or the left. I don't know. I can't remember. But he told me that the makeup artist could cover my eye. And that's triggered me to the point where I called the reception off. And once I called the reception off, that's when everybody knew. So my dad, brother, everybody came up there. So it was a big mess. And before I left, he was crying, of course, saying, don't let them take you away from me. And we just got married. We're going to work it out. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Yeah. So I stayed again because I felt like I would never be able to date or get anybody else. So I was like, I'm married. I'm just going to go back. And so fast forward to me going to nursing school. That's when it got really, really, really hairy because he didn't want me to become a nurse.
I guess he didn't want you around doctors or...
No, he didn't want me to make that kind of money.
Yeah.
So
at this time, he was making more money than you then?
Honestly, no. But I didn't, at the time, I was so blindsided and I felt like I couldn't make it without him. I really was making more money than him because he was paying child support.
Okay.
So it was never about the financial part. That was never it.
So you guys got married.
Mm-hmm.
And the reception was off.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys were still residing together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was life like at this particular stage in the marriage?
Honestly, it was like a blur. Like I was just like, everybody knew I was married. It was like I was married. I don't have no pictures of it. I don't have no pictures of him. So it was just
no reception.
Like, no reception.
Y'all never did get back around to that?
Nope.
Okay.
So we just going along, and the mental abuse, it just kept going. He hit me a couple of more times, and then the mental abuse just kept going. He just kept trying to tear me down. And then I met someone who made me want to live again. It wasn't a man, it was a woman. And so we were working together, and she would always want to go places with, take me places with her and do things with her. And finally one day I had to break it down to her. I was like, I can't. Like, I don't live a normal life. I act like I live a normal life, but I don't.
Okay.
So
was this female like a love interest, or
no?
It was just a person that you looked up to?
I looked up to.
Okay, and she kind of gave you support and
Yeah.
kind of help you rebuild your self-esteem.
Yeah, she was just like, we're going to pray you out of it. And another thing is, like, if you meet somebody in these situations, never tell them to leave. I don't know why my eye watering.
Because you're crying.
But never tell them to leave, because a lot of times when you meet people in these situations, you quick to say you should leave, and that's the quickest way to make somebody back away from you.
Okay, so psychologically, in your, in the opinion, in your opinion, what do you think happens psychologically that demands a domestic violence person that's involved in it to stay? What happens?
I think it's the fear of the unknown. And sometimes, especially if people have children and they don't have jobs and they're isolated, because it's another thing. He wanted to isolate me, but the people closest to me would never allow that to happen, because they still called me. They still came to check on me. If I didn't answer the phone, they would like randomly show up at the house, things like that, because they knew something wasn't right. So like when they isolate people, it's just a whole lot of mental. It's a mental game. And once they tear your self-esteem down. You really feel like you have nowhere to go. And then I give it probably like 3-4 years into the marriage, especially after I became a nurse, like just sitting around listening to other women, I'm like, man, do I really got it that bad? Because for me, I didn't identify with being in a domestic situation until years after I left, because I felt like domestic violence and mental abuse was like you getting hit every day. You gotta hide and you gotta do this and you gotta do that. So I never really looked at myself as being a domestic violence survivor.
Because you hadn't got psychologically so used to it.
Yeah. So like
it was so common.
It was so common to me that I just was like, this is my life. And like nobody may not understand it, but it's my life. And like so many people around me wanted to be married, they wanted to have the house, they wanted the cars, and I had all of that. So by the time I left him, I was really just married to a ring and actually having the material things that came with it.
Okay. So the whole time you guys were together up to this point anyway, you had never stepped out on him. Is that correct? Or
yeah, I stepped out on him.
Oh, okay. Well,
I did.
We don't need to go into that point. That's all.
I did, and I wanted him to find out because I felt like this person would come in on a white horse and save me. That made it worse. So
the abuse got intensified.
The control the control got intensified.
Okay. So he was still working. You were working. So I guess the time that he was at work, is that where you found time to be with this other individual, or?
Yeah, sometimes it wasn't even like we was together all the time. It was more of a phone conversation type deal, and I just erased the number because it was like a mental comfort for me. But the person was married too, so, and they were going through things, so.
Okay. That was a little bit. I wasn't trying to go there, but.
I mean, that's the honest truth, though. Yeah, that's the honest truth, and I don't think that he's a horrible person. My ex, I just think that he got issues.
Yeah.
And I know some people be like, "Oh well, you shouldn't have did A, B, and C, and maybe he wouldn't have hit you." And that's like something that I struggled with the whole time that I was with him because I felt like I was the problem.
Let me ask you this: did you ever talk to any of the people he had dated prior to you?
No.
Never did? Mm-mm. So you don't know anything about his history, or did you learn it along the way?
I learned from the neighbor across the street. She deceased now. One day, because I had left him once and tried to leave him again, but he came home in the process of me trying to leave. The first time I left him, she didn't know it, but the second time when she saw me trying to pack up, she was like, what's going on? I said, I got to get out of here. And she was like, I had to come over here several times when the last person lived here. And she was like, I had to put out a lot of fires. Are you okay? And I was just like, I don't know. And
you were in a state of confusion.
Yeah.
Man, at that point, I just can't imagine what you were going through.
And like I said, being young and naive, and then like dealing with somebody and having so many issues like prior to like childhood trauma. I think a lot of that led up to me being with him. And so, of course, like I said, I didn't know that then, but once I started going to nursing school, once I graduated, and once I turned 30, like life just like it's like a switch flipped on in my head. And it was just like, I gotta get out of here, or either I'm gonna die here. You mentioned the childhood trauma. You want to elaborate on that a little bit, or? Yeah, I mean, I had mama issues, I had daddy issues, I had issues within myself I should have fixed or I needed to fix, and I didn't realize it because growing up and poor, nobody talked to you about counseling, nobody talked to you about your mental well-being. We taught to be strong black women, pray about it, give it to God, and go. That's what we taught. And that's what I went off of. We taught to whatever going on in your household, you leave it in your household. So therefore, all the stuff I was going through, it was in my house. Nobody knew about it. And that's how we were taught. That's what we were taught. And so I think it was like 2017. I'm a very spiritual person. Just say that. So in 2017, I had just prayed. I was like, if this ain't for me, God, just show me. And literally, putting it in my hand, had been cheating on me for months with the same person.
Your husband?
Had been cheating on me for months. That was the second time I had caught him. And this time it was just so disrespectful. Like, very disrespectful, because I was working a bunch of overtime trying to help him pay bills because he claimed he had this business venture that I never really just, like, thought he was lying about, which when I look back, I think he probably was, because he probably was giving her money. And, like, when I caught him, it just came to me. Just, like, landed right in my lap. I wasn't even looking for it because I was so scared to touch his phone that I never touched his phone.
Never?
Mm-mm.
Man, Joe had some control. Man.
I never touched his phone. So when it came to me and it hit me, I was just like, wow. And the whole time he just kept saying, it ain't nothing like that. Ain't nothing like that. You thinking too much into it. I don't know if it really was or it really wasn't, but I took it as it was, and that was in 2017. And that's when I feel like the tables turned. And I was just like, I don't think I can take this no more.
Okay. So what action did you put with that thought?
I stopped trying. I stopped trying to, like, make a life. Like, I was going to a fertility specialist. I was going to look at houses every Sunday. I was determined to make it work because I was like, I'm only going to be married once. Mm-hmm. I only want to be married once. That's all I want. And I'm going to make it work. So I was doing all of it. So I stopped. I stopped going to the doctor. I stopped going to look at houses. I stopped trying to put forth effort into, like, making this perfect life when it really was jacked up.
And he witnessed that. And, of course, how did he handle it?
He just automatically thought it was another man. And I'm like, no, it's not. We just got to fix it. We got to fix it. And initially, I wanted to go to counseling. Mm-hmm. He told me he was not going to counseling because they were just going to tell him everything he was doing wrong. So he would not go to counseling with me. Probably
embarrassed about the actions throughout the marriage.
I'm sure.
I'm assuming. That's what I'm assuming.
But he was like, no, he wasn't going to counseling with me. And then in 2018, he did bring it up, but I was already checked out.
Okay.
I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do and how I was going to do it, if I was going to stay, if I was going to go, what was going to happen.
Okay.
And then February 2018, it was Valentine's Day weekend, and we got into an argument. And I don't even remember exactly what the argument was about, but I remember him saying that he was jealous of me. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to be my daddy. And he was just like, it was my personality in my breast. Seriously, he said it was my personality because people drawn to me and older men like me because of my breast. And I'm like, those are two things I can't change. I can't change who I am any more than I already have. And my breast ain't going nowhere.
I'm surprised he didn't beat your personality out of you. Because
I was two different people. At home, I wasn't the same person.
So you had to put on this happy face in public.
Yeah, like, you would have thought, like, I was literally two different people. Seriously. Like, I was two different people. Once I clocked out, I turned it off. I turned who I truly was off once I clocked out. And then when I was at home, I was who he wanted me to be, which was a quiet person. But, like, I love to have fun. I love to cuddle up, as you know.
I found that out in the studio.
Yes. So, that's something that he hated about me. And, like, I'm such a loving and caring person till I felt like if I left him, I would be like, let me see. I just cared more about him than I cared about myself. I felt like if I left him, then I wouldn't be able to save him. I felt like I could fix him. But then in 2018, I was just like, nah. Because that particular night, he, like, put a huge hole in the wall. He drove me around the living room. He ain't hit me in, like, 2 years. But
when he's dragging you, what part of your body?
He had me by my shirt, like, slinging me around, dragging me across the floor.
Is he a big dude?
He about your size.
Oh, yeah. He's probably strong, man.
Yeah, he was strong. Yeah, he was strong. And he was
You
just
my
like,
side, he's strong then.
yeah.
Oh.
And then after that, I was just like, God, I hear you. And I was just like, I got to get out. And I had to go to work the next day. My boss ended up sending me home because I didn't even comb my hair or iron my uniform. And I didn't even realize it till she sent me home. And I was just like, man, I
So
gotta
you were a
go.
nurse at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How
Yeah.
long had you been a nurse at this time?
A year and a half, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got my nursing license in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like a year and some change into it.
Was he drinking that particular night?
Uh-uh.
So a lot of times it didn't necessarily drinking didn't spawn these episodes all the
Drinking
time.
actually never spawned the
Worst episodes.
physical abuse.
Oh, it didn't.
No.
Okay.
No, like he would just go off his rocker about anything when it came to the physical, but the mental was a little bit of both. When he was drinking, I just knew not to say nothing. Like I wouldn't even I never tried to fight him back because it would get worse, and I never even said anything back to him until that night in 2018 because he triggered me.
And you fought back.
Nah, I ain't fight him back. I said something back. I normally didn't even say nothing to him. Like I would just sit there like a child with my head down like this, cause it just would be so bad.
I just can't imagine that kind of level of control. Oh.
But when somebody take you and like they break you, like he literally broke my spirit. It makes you become somebody that you're really not, and it just I don't know. I can't even really explain it. But as a woman, when somebody just tear you down like that, it just do something. It make you feel like nobody will ever look at you again anyway. So it's just like, why not stay here? And then you got some people who really, like I said, want to get out. They just don't know how. And my dream is to have a safe house for women. I don't want it to be government funded because that's how so many women get killed. They want you to do all of these things before they even come in to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this out when I actually reached out to get help. They want you to take a restraining order out. They want you to do this. They want you to do that. Well, if I go to work at 3 o'clock in the morning and I have to walk across the whole parking lot, who gonna stop him from killing me? Because he mad because I took out a restraining order. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm
way ahead of you because I'm at a loss for words at this point because I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around that level of control. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that there are more women out there that are going through probably something worse than you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but when somebody also tells you, I kill you, I kill myself, because my son can grow up without a daddy because I did. I think that tells you that this person is very capable of killing you if you're going to kill yourself too. And like done thought it out to that point.
yeah.
And I mean, he told me that several times. My son can grow up without a daddy because I did. And when I left him, I went back.
So how long did you stay gone? What was the longest break time period that you stayed away from?
When I say I went back, I don't mean like I fully went back. I just was still talking to him and kind of like dealing with him because I still was wrapped up in this. He may change.
Mm-hmm.
And then one night, he started choking me. He told me he should have killed me when he had a chance. And that was the trigger for me to let go. Because I was like, God, if you get me out of this situation, I know, like, and he had been drinking, and he had been drinking beer, so he wasn't as strong and physically capable of finishing the job.
But you felt like he was that.
Yeah, he was choking me.
So what happened? How did you get him off, or how did it end?
Yeah, there was intimacy. There was intimacy, as I put it, yeah, and it was awful because I thought I was finna die. I couldn't breathe. I'm like choking me, and finally he just told me, "You gonna do this and you gonna do that," and I just complied with everything he told me to do, and I did it. And the next day, he just knew that I was going to do everything he told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So when we parted ways, it wasn't no part ways of as if I wasn't never going to see you again. It was like, okay, now you finna go do A, B, and C like I told you to do. And I said yes.
And you gave him the impression that you were going to see that,
Absolutely.
follow through with that.
Absolutely.
But in your mind, you were going to exit.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what you did.
Absolutely.
And you haven't been back since.
No.
Okay. So, did y'all ever get a divorce?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We've been
How long
divorced.
after that did that divorce?
I let him do that part because I already knew he was angry. He was very angry at me for leaving. He felt like it was not me that left. He felt like it was everybody's opinions that made me leave. He couldn't wrap his mind around the person that I had become. So I let him initiate the divorce because when I was trying to initiate it, it was not good. So I let him do it. And so finally, like 3 years after me being gone, we met at the bank to initiate the divorce, and I was fine with it.
Did you have anybody accompany you?
I did not. But I told him to meet me at the bank so the police would be there. Because we did the papers in the bank.
And he followed through on it?
Mm-hmm.
And everything as far as the divorce?
We didn't have any... I didn't want nothing. Like, when I tell you I left while he was at work.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 vehicles at the time. I paid my 2 vehicles with what I could get, and I left.
And that was the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, since the divorce was final, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Has he tried to reach out since then?
Mm-mm. Physically spoken to him, it's been about 3 years since I talked to him. 2 years. About 2 years since I actually spoke with him. Seeing him, I probably haven't seen him in like 4.
Okay. And the psychological damage that was done, you think you'll ever recover from that? And what, or if you will, would be your advice to any female? First, let's answer the question of the psychological damage.
I didn't think I was gonna get emotional, so of course, I think that psychologically I'm better because I got help.
Mm-hmm.
Now, initially when I left him, I just felt like I just wanted to get over him and I just wanted to get over everything. But my advice is you cannot get over anything. You have to actually go through whatever it is that you're going through to actually get over it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. It's like you sweep stuff up under the rug. So, for instance, for a whole year, I was like traveling the world. I was on this high of just being free because I felt like I had just got out of prison.
Because you are in a prison. You're in a psychological prison.
Yeah. So I felt like I had just got out. So I was having the best time of my life. And I was just sweeping all my emotions under the rug. And then life happened and the rug was gone and all my mess was there and I had to deal with it.
So how did you end up dealing or coping?
I went to counseling.
Okay.
I went to therapy. Yes.
Did that help?
Oh my God, yes. Therapy opened up my eyes as to why I even got in the situation. Therapy helped me to understand why I was always on edge. And therapy helped me to open my eyes to what I really needed to heal. And then COVID hit. So her office closed and I just used the tools that she gave me to kind of figure out other things in my life. So then I had to understand I had to go back and I had to heal the little girl. And then I had to heal the adolescent. And then I had to heal the woman. It was like steps. It was like a process to me getting to the point where I am now. And so in 2020, probably the end of 2020, I was supposed to go to this conference to help me build a business. So initially I always wanted to build a business in nursing because I absolutely love being a nurse. And so God put it on my heart to do Commitment to You. Didn't know where it was going. Didn't know what I was going to do with it. I just knew that it was something that I needed to do. So I came up with Commitment to You, which is, website and everything I got.
Go to the, Commitment to You.
Yeah, this Commitment to You, commitmenttoyou.com. But I created it initially. When I created it, it was all about self-care because I felt like women didn't care for themselves enough. And then I started actually traveling with a bunch of women, like a bunch of different nurses, and I learned like self-love was not there. And this was in 2021. This before like everybody blew up being like life coaches and self-love coaches. This was back then.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I came up with Commitment to You, because we just wasn't loving ourselves right.
Well, tell the audience a little bit about what Commitment to You is.
Basically making a commitment to yourself to always put you first and make sure your cup is full before you try to fill someone else's cup. Set boundaries in relationships with people. I don't care if it's a job, the person you dating.
I agree 100%.
Or whatever the case may be. And I know sometimes a lot of people, especially women, we don't want to set boundaries because we're scared of losing people. If you lose people, they were never meant to be in your life to begin with.
Exactly.
That's the concept that I go with now.
Exactly. I lost a lot, but I don't think to be honest with everybody, I don't get honest with you guys on here, but I haven't met a person stronger than me, honestly. Willpower wise or mental.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been through a lot, and I can take a lot, and I got a lot more that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to take before I'm out of here. But I can't even imagine what you went through in your situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why somebody like me, it's very difficult for me to get my mind wrapped around how could a person psychologically control you down to what you say and what you don't say.
I wish I had that answer for you, and like people who know me cannot even believe he had me like that, because I'm such a strong individual, because I've been through so much. Like I've been through so much prior to him, just like growing up. I've been through so much, and people look at me as being resilient, so they don't understand how I got wrapped up in him. But he was like my kryptonite. I don't know.
You must have thought you loved him. You must have felt that.
Yeah, I did. And I mean, I feel like I still have love for him,
mm-hmm.
because I know like he needs help.
You ain't going back, are you?
No, absolutely
sure?
not. No.
Okay, I don't want to come back on this. On this platform. Back on here again.
No. I think that a lot of men that they may not admit it, but they need help. They have anger issues. They have mama issues. They have daddy issues. But instead of getting help, they choose to take it out on women.
Mm.
And I feel like that's how a lot of abuse starts. And like I said, they love bomb you. They make you feel like you're the best thing in the world. And they put you on this pedestal only to tear you down.
Mm. Wow. Okay, as y'all can see, I wore purple, which represents domestic violence. This is the color that represents domestic violence. Got a piece of lint right here.
Mm-hmm.
And support and in your situation with your story, man, that was one heck of a story. Very emotional.
Yeah.
So anything you want to say to to kind of sign off with any females out there? Any advice you got for them other than just to try to see it through?
I would just tell anybody who's going through this situation, you never know what the next person next to you can help you with. If you need to talk to someone, please do. It's all kind of avenues out there. You'll be amazed at how many people will help you. It's shelters out here. Swallow your pride. If you have children, you got to do what you got to do for your kids, because kids pick up a lot more than what you think they pick up on. They can pick up on your emotions, you not being happy, and you don't want to instill that into your kids, because we have to break these generational curses. We have to break them. I feel like for me, I don't have any children yet, but I feel like I've broken them for my unborn children. If I have them, I've tried to break them for my family. And yeah, seek help. Get you some help, because you cannot stay locked up in your own mind. And I know, like I said, the process of getting help can be very tedious, because they want you to jump through all these hoops. But if you know someone, just talk to someone. Trust me, because I did. And once I started talking to this person, I just felt so much better, and it gave me the courage to just leave. I don't care if you got to leave states or whatever and start over. I am living proof that it can be done. I am sitting here in front of you thriving, and it's because I left. And it's okay. Like, it's gonna seem like it's no light at the end of the tunnel. It's gonna be depressing. It's not gonna be easy, but you have to want to live and survive, and not just exist. You gotta want to live, and that's my advice for you.
That was a wonderful speech, Carla.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm so silly. Okay, well, that wraps up another episode here at Assembly Uncharted. As you heard, that was my guest, Carla Hudson. And we thank you for showing up and sharing your story with us. I hope it helps somebody. I hope it helps somebody.
And you can always find me, commitmenttoyou.com. If you're on Instagram, it's commitment to you, one word. If you need to inbox me, whatever the case may be, whatever I can do to help you, please reach out to me.
You got a number you want to leave, or did you?
I don't have a number.
Okay.
I don't have a number.
Okay. All right. That's a wrap.
All right. Thank you.